Hey, Sean McGough here. Hit that like, share, subscribe. I want to talk about systemic racism. We have a group of Muslims, got to be about 50 of them, having a picnic at the park in South Boston. And I'm bringing it up because it's a wonderful thing. They're having a great time. Everyone's playing, having a nice time. No one's even taking a second look. That wouldn't have happened back in 85. There's a lot of black people, a lot of Spanish walking around. In 85, it wasn't racism. It's because you weren't from the neighborhood. You couldn't go, a white guy couldn't go on the other side of the, over by JFK Library either. Not at a certain hour. You'd get jumped, you'd get mugged. You didn't go there. I know. I walked around here. I knew where it was safe and where it wasn't. And I went to where it wasn't just to see. And I got asked by a lot of black kids, what are you doing here? You trying to die, motherfucker? Anyway, I bring this up because in 1985, this was gang country. It was Whitey Bulger. He was in charge of Southie. He dealt with the mob. They were in charge of the North End. And I don't know who was in charge over there in Roxbury. And JP, well, JP was white back then for a lot of it. Well, they called it Jamaica Spain because it became Puerto Rican. But either way, they had their own crime bosses, I'm guessing. Everywhere has a boss. That's how hierarchies work. And when you don't have elected hierarchies, guess what you have? Criminal hierarchies. One of them's going to be in charge. Unfortunately, the criminal hierarchy around Massachusetts was running the elected hierarchy. Yeah, for quite some time. And the corruption hasn't stopped much. Go watch Howie Carr or listen to him, for Christ's sake. Anyway, that being said, this would not be allowed after 9/11. The whole place was full of flags. You don't see anyone loving America anymore, but we didn't like Muslims back then. We didn't know much about them. They were ragheads. That's what we sang in our songs at boot camp in the 1990s. Saddam Hussein. You just were from outside, though. That had nothing really to do in 85. You were from outside. But if you lived in South Boston, if you bought there and you were from the neighborhood, they'd say, hey, okay, don't leave them alone. They're from here. Don't like them, but they're from here. They're protected. That's what used to happen. Happened in the South End. South End was tough. Now it's all gay. I don't know. They went pineapples and stole the rainbow, but South End used to be tough. Now it's really nice, actually. But they don't like straight people. I don't go there. I would love to go to some of their little shops and take my kids, and I see the looks I get. I can read people. I'd love to go down there and save some souls, but you know what? Not if you're going to give me an attitude for it. Nah, I don't need that headache. I talk to a lot of gay people anyway. I don't know if I'm saving anybody or not. It hits me when it hits me. Oh, that's why I was making this video. I was just talking to a black man. Somehow his son came up and his son passed away. He was 18, put himself in a bad position and got himself shot because of a girl. And he hit the girl, and I said, and I had to interrupt him. I said, you know, your son put himself in that position. I have to interrupt you. In the voice of my head that swears at me that is to me the voice of God. You call it the voice of my conscience or whatever. It's the voice of God. I said, I'm so sorry, sir. I explained the whole thing to him as fast as I could. I said, I'm good in 10 minutes. Please just give me 10 minutes. That's all I ask you. I'll make you laugh at some point. If I swear at you, it's not me. It's coming from my subconscious. I didn't want to freak him out by saying God, because that's what I noticed. When you say, just mention God, people just go, oh, I don't want to talk to this guy. And I find that hilarious because it saves me a lot of time on who I actually want to talk to. If I found that if I ask you, do you believe in God? And you give me, yeah, I'm not sure. That means you have an open mind, and I can tell you a joke and you'll laugh. When you say no and run away, wow, you people just aren't funny. You don't get satire. You're the people who write into Matt Walsh and say, Matt, you're such a jerk. And it was obviously he was being funny, but you take him serious. You're the people who write into Blaze TV and cry about facts. And it's like, wait, we use CNN to bolster our facts because we figured you'd believe that if we went to the source that you always use and borrowed their stuff or however it works. That's what I use. I go to the most left-wing sources I can find to find the story, even if it slides their way, just to say, look, even you guys are reporting on it. It's just no mainstream is. It's a one-page article, and then you can turn around and say, look, we reported on it. It was in the Eagle Tribune. Who the fuck is reading newsprint besides me anymore? Anyway, that being said, I felt this man's son, and his son said, just tell him the story. Don't give him the whole show. That's the same thing God told me yesterday to tell my wife. Give her the story, not the whole show. Twice he told me to tell my wife that. And this time he cut me off with 8 minutes. His son stepped in. I had 8 minutes left to talk. and I went 9:02, and they had to leave. And when they were leaving, I said, oh, and by the way, Trump actually won. You know that, right? God even told me that. And they said, oh, we liked you up until now. That's the punchline. Hey, how am I doing? I got it down to 5:19. I thought it was pretty funny. We liked it till now. Oh, there's a whole lot more to this story, because I showed them how you pick up girls at the carnival guessing weight and how close I can get, and how one guy's pissed off at me because I said 60. I always guess under, and I try to get as close as I can but also be under. And I said, this guy looks 60. And he goes, 60? Get the fuck out of here. I have nice skin. I said, well, how old are you? He said, 51. I said, prick, what the fuck are you doing? Are you boozing or drugging? You look like pure hell. You got a foot in the fucking grave. And he says again, no, look, I got beautiful skin. I said, compared to what, a fucking lizard? And then he said, you're such an asshole. And I said, I know, but you play this game so good. Are you from Southie? And he said, no. And then I asked him the question anyway about systemic racism, but he didn't know anything about the 1619 Project. He didn't know anything about this whole anti-racism socialist movement. He didn't watch news. He doesn't do anything. And you know what? He may be gray and look old as fuck, but he seemed happy as hell. And I'm betting by not knowing everything, he found God a lot more earlier than I did. So God love you, brother. You know, there was a reason I talked to you, but there was definitely a reason I talked to that old black dude in systemic racism. It's not real. Oh, that was my whole point, too. Stop believing this shit and get some Thomas Sowell. I pushed Thomas Sowell on both of them, and I actually pushed not Shapiro. It was Cruz and Michael Knowles, and the wonderful show they have, an interview about Ted Cruz heading to Israel because of what's going on. You realize they also activated that dome so Israel's enemies could see how well it works and how they can try to beat it. This isn't all done by accident. These aren't coincidences. That's why they activated that dome. The dome's working great, but some missiles are getting through. But now the Biden administration says they're not going to replenify the missiles and Israel's on its own. That's genocide, people. Wake the fuck up. I mean, really? Wake the fuck up. That's genocide. I warned about it in this country. God told me. Maybe it's not this country. That's how these things work. That's why I don't want to be any kind of prophet. I don't want real responsibility. That's how that shit works. I'm wrong about the country, maybe. But it looks like it's going to be Israel. And that's why when you fuck it up and you're like Nostradamus, look how many times he was wrong. Everyone gives him credit. That's like Brett Favre. Look at how many touchdowns he threw. Yeah, look how many interceptions the cocksucker threw too, will ya? He ain't perfect. He's a good guy and a good quarterback, and he loves America. But a little overrated. You and Joe Namath are kind of in the same fucking category. Y'all are famous, but not by much, you prick. God thinks you're funny as fuck. Anyway, you decide who's talking right now. I got to get my dog on a walk. All right? So, God love you. My video's done. The voice in my head's coming out. I got to be careful who I talk to now, or I'll be swearing up a storm. I got to find people who actually already know me, because then it's okay if I swear. And then I just got to watch out for kids and women. That's right. Have respect for kids and women. And if you're a woman, I know it's sexist and massage therapist and all that business, but don't swear. Don't swear. It takes so much away from you. Let the guys do it twice for you, and not in front of you. Warn us. Hey, that language. We listen. You don't have to be a bitch about it. Just say, guys, the language, children, or whatever. You know how to make us work. Use that voice again. We'll listen. So I tell my wife, remember when? I'm trying to bring that back. Remember when? There's a song in there somewhere. I know somebody sang it. I got to look that up. I'm going to ask people. I hate Google. I like talking. Anyway, I'm going to talk. That's my job in life. Maybe I save a soul. Maybe I made the old black man feel a little better that his son is there with him right now. I told him that. I say he doesn't have to believe me. I'm just telling him because I feel him. That's all I can do. Guardian angel. I'm on board.